Today I'll be speaking with Natalie Woodman, a naturopath here in Perth, to find out what her views are about sugar addiction. Is it real? Is it really impacting people's health? And what foods have and contain sugar? And what types of sugars may or may not be good for us in our daily consumption? What are your thoughts about sugar and its effects on people's health?
Well, sugar is, again, it's about the dose is the poison, okay? So we're demonising sugar in its entirety, but what we're talking about here is processed sugars, and sugars, high fructose corn syrup, fructose sugars in our ice creams, in our yogurt, in processed foods. But the natural sugars, the naturally occurring sugars in fruits and vegetables and whole grains, so we're talking about monosaccharides and polysaccharides, which is, I know that's sort of hard to understand, but those natural sugars are processed differently with the body because they are bound with fibre and they're slowly released in our body. But the sugars that we find in, for example, tomato sauce, a couple of squeezes of tomato sauce and you've got 2 or 3 teaspoons of sugar, and it's almost like injecting it straight into your bloodstream.
So in your opinion, is sugar addiction a real thing? Is it actually like a chemical addiction, perhaps, like into alcohol and smoking?
Oh, most definitely. It is an addiction because the body can't process it quickly enough. When we ingest sugar and it goes straight into our bloodstream, we need insulin to basically get it into the cells to create energy. But when there's too much sugar, if you just think of supply and demand, you've got, say for example 100 grams of sugar, but your body's only requiring about 20 grams to do your job. That other sugar circulating in your blood, it changes the chemical receptors, how we function. Also with our gut, it causes inflammation in the body, it's stored as fat, and this cycle comes, and then once it's all away, our body's like, oh, I want more sugar.
What are some of the solutions or recommendations you give to people that come to you with sugar addictions?
So depending on how addicted are they, we try to work on reducing. Like I said, we either go cold turkey or we work on reducing things. So we look at what have they got in their home, and I think if anyone opens their fridge and has a look and this is what I ask people to do first, is go to your fridge and have a look and get out all those packaged things, the dressings, the mayonnaises, anything that comes in a jar or packet, get it out and have a look at where sugar is on there. So, my hint to people is to shop on the perimeter. I mean, the best idea is to go to a market. Going to a market, there's fresh fruits and vegetables, and beans and legumes and nuts and seeds and things that you can buy. But alternatively, if you're not near a market or don't know of one, shop around the perimeter where all the fruit and vegetables are, and don't walk down the aisles.
If you sense that you have a sugar addiction, what would be one of the ways that people can detect that?
I think it's a change in moods. That's generally, so we see it now with our children, they say, oh, they're really hyperactive at this time. It's our moods change. You see people have, everyone talks about the 3 p.m. slump. Why? Because quite often we've had a highly processed lunch, or even, like I said, the sandwich that's got the mayonnaises and the mustards and the sauces in there, or the beetroot that's very high in sugar. And so once that we get that huge blood glucose spike, and then when it comes down, that slump. So that if you are up and downing, if your moods are changing, if you've got those energy slump, there's sugar associated with that, and we can see that in our children, we can see that in ourselves, and so we need to go back and look at the foods. But I think where most people struggle is they feel that it has no taste, because we are so used to the sugars mixed with salts and fats, that we go, oh, there's the taste. So it's about retraining our detectors, our basically taste detectors on our tongue, because they are basically have learnt just to be working for sugar, but those sour and those bitter and all those other taste receptors are literally laying dormant, and we need to reawaken that, and that is whole plant-based foods.
Bass Tadros for Undercurrent.